Intuitive approach of Shankara's Vedanta by Sri Gangoli DB. This is the 11th session in this book, in this lecture series. So, today's topic is Sarvatrika Anubhava or Universal Experience. This is the 6th section in this book, Intuitive Approach. ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗಣೇಶಾಯ ನಮಃ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ, ದಂಬೆ, ಪುಣಚ, ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ ತಾಲೂಕು, ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಭಾರತ. ಸೊ 47th question. What is the authoritative evidence to determine the exact import of the two concepts which we have so far determined, namely avidya of the form of adhyasa, misconception, and vidya which sublates that avidya? You have propounded that both pramanas and shastras are subsumed under the realm of vyavahara, empirical transactions, which is itself projected or prompted by avidya, is it not? In that case, what supporting proof is there for atmaikatva, or the absolute unity or non-duality of Atman, which is to be determined by vidya? Answer. For this, we have given a suitable answer at the beginning of this treatise itself. Sri Shankara has affirmed that the Vedanta Shastra is itself in toto the pramana or atmaikatva or non-dualism of Atman, which is the quintessence of his Siddhanta. He has further elaborated and elucidated that with regard to the deliberation upon vidya and avidya pertaining to the ultimate reality of Atman, as well as the determination of their respective natures in essence and by their distinctive characteristics, the Sarvatrika Anubhava or universal intuitive experience which evolves out of the determination of the correct interpretation and import of the Upanishadic teaching, Upanishadic sentences, is itself the convincing and clinching proof. This assertion is crystal clear in his Bhashya sentence, which says, just as in the case of dharma jijnasa or deliberation on religious tenets, Shrutyadi or the scriptural texts and other works and accessories in consonance with them are exclusively pramanas or valid means, these later alone by themselves are not pramanas in the case of Brahma jijnasa or deliberation on the ultimate reality of Brahman. To witness Shrutis or Upanishadic lore as well as Anubhava or intuitive experience and other accessories in keeping with it are invariably pramanas according to the circumstances and contexts in which either of them become suitable and valid. For Brahmajnana or the intuitive knowledge of the ultimate reality of Brahman culminates or reaches its fruition in Anubhava or intuitive experience. Besides, Brahmajnana pertains to a Bhuta Vastu or an already eternally existing or established Atma Vastu or entity of the self. Next, 48th question. What is the purport of the sentence that Anubhava is also a pramana? Brahmajnana culminates in Anubhava alone? Sri Shankara's opinion is Ekadesha or one part of the Sarvatrika Anubhava or universal intuitive experience is for the purposes of deliberation. A pramana, Atmaikatva Vijnana or the intuitive knowledge of the absolutism or non-dualism of the self culminates or reaches its fruition in the Purna Anubhava or plenary consummate intuitive experience, which is Sarvatrika or universal. Here in this context, the word pramana does not at all connote that this is also one among the empirical valid means of cognition like pratyaksha perception, anumana inference, etc. For all those pramanas are subsumed in the realm of avidya alone. In the present context, when we use the word pramana, it connotes a means for determining the tattva or reality after intuitive deliberation, and Purna Anubhava is that resultant intuitive experience which evolves out or is deduced from the deliberation. For example, to cognize the fact that the empirical valid means like pratyaksha, anumana, etc. are those which help signify different kinds of objects, and to discern distinctively the three categories of pramana in the manner this is a valid means which gives rise to the correct knowledge. Apramana or invalid means in the manner this is totally a void with any valid means of cognition being absent, with the result there is no knowledge whatsoever engendered. And for these above purposes, the support substrate is the Ekadesha Sarvatrika Anubhava alone. After the intuitive deliberation is carried out, the Purna Anubhava of the type, all that exists is Atman alone, is itself the final fruition or culmination by way of resultant fruit. For this reason alone, Sri Shankaracharya has written in his Bhashyas that Anubhava alone is Pramana and Atmajnana culminates in Anubhava alone. Next question, 49th. In the phrase Anubhava, Anubhavadayascha, meaning Anubhava and other such phenomena, what exactly is the meaning for the word Adi, meaning etc.? In addition to Anubhava, what else is required in this context? Here, taking the Ekadesha Anubhavas or parts of intuitive experiences as the basis, one has to carry out ratiocination, keeping in focus the Anvaya or agreement and Vyatireka or disagreement between two things to be discriminated about. In addition to this kind of a dialectical exercise in consonance with intuition, here in this context, the other various logical devices in vogue in the empirical transactions like syllogistic reasoning based on analogous examples or illustrations in keeping with the common experience born out of empirical valid means. Logic, which examines the validity or otherwise of the means, pramana, shodhaka tarka, pure critic of reason, kevala tarka are also needed for deliberation. There is also intuitive reasoning, kevala tarka, which is needed to determine the validity, relevance, or otherwise of the propositions of rival disputants. Keeping all these various kinds of dialectical devices in mind, Sri Shankara has used the word Adi or etc. After indicating that all these are necessary for Brahma Jijnasa or deliberation to know the ultimate reality of Brahman, he has made a pronouncement in the concluding sentence of the Jijnasa Sutra Bhashya in the manner Tasmat Brahma Jijnasa Upanyasa Mukhena. The purpose, that is, therefore, on the pretext of saying that one should carry out Brahma Jijnasa, it is indicated that for this Mimamsa or deep reflection begun to discern the purport of the Vedanta Vakyas, taking all logical devices not opposed to it as accessories, moksha or liberation alone is the final benefit. In the expression, all logical devices not opposed to Mimamsa, in the above statement, the following are subsumed: ratiocination exemplified or enunciated in the Shrutis themselves, dialectical devices in consonance with that, logic in keeping the empirical pramanas as well as reasoning adopted to determine the validity, relevance, or otherwise of the pramanas themselves, pure critique of reason. This should be thoroughly understood and applied. Now, the 50th question. What is the basis for the divisions or differentiation between Vidya and Avidya? On the strength of which phenomenon do we conclude in the manner this is Avidya or nescience? Is there no need or for a cause at least for this Avidya to arise in human beings? It amounts to our having given an answer already, indeed, to this question. Avidya means imagining the body and the senses which are anrita, unreal, false to be really existing, having identification with them in the manner I am this and this is mine, because of the reason that this Avidya itself being the very foundation for all kinds of vyavahara, mundane transactions. No one, whosoever he or she may be, can ever possibly ask for any pramana, proof, evidence, or karana, cause, without desiderating any yukti, logical device, or pramana, valid means whatsoever. All human beings in general have been believing for or reckoning quite naturally too as part of their innate pattern of behavior, naisargika, in the manner I am this and this is mine. There is no need of any cause whatsoever for this, either the belief or its consequent behavior. For this kind of natural misconception is anadi or beginningless. In fact, it is even the nimitta or cause for all temporal transactions. No human being, whosoever he or she may be, does every carry on any workate transaction, thinking in the manner I am an avidyavanta, not knowing anything. All the people in general are endowed quite naturally too with the kartrutva bhoktrutva, Jnatritva or cognizership, which is the cause for these earlier two misconceptions, with Kartritva and Bhoktritva. An innate desire, Kamana, to know the reality of external objects or phenomena and thereafter to carry on all workaday transactions. Both the Vedantas, Upanishads, in the form of the authoritative canonical text, and Vedantins, those who have not only studied the spiritual science of Vedanta but also have intuitively imbibed its principal teachings, expound the genuine Vedantic teachings to Jijnasus that the fact of the common run of people having presumed in the above manner is invariably an effect or consequence of avidya. Further, this avidya can be destroyed or got rid of by means of Atma Jnana. It being so, whether it is the division of Vidya and Avidya or whether it is the intuitive deliberation to be carried out in order to be able to determine, establish their respective natures, in essence, both aspects have to be based on the strength of Anubhava or intuitive experience alone. So, next 51st question we shall see in the next session. So, this ends the 11th session in the intuitive approach of Shankara's Vedanta by Sri D.B. Ganguly. हरे राम. श्री डी वी गंगुल्ली चरणारविंदार्पितमस्तु. श्री श्री सच्चिदानंद सरस्वती चरणारविंदार्पितमस्तु. शंकरार्पितमस्तु. सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. ओं तत्सत्.